From plays like this that land players in hospitals, to times when even the umpires are not safe. These are times when NFL players went too far. And our first moment is when Bill Romanowski thought he was some kind of Jesus. Number 15. Romanowski spits into J.J. Stokes' eyes. Y'all remember that Bible story where Jesus heals a blind man with spit and dirt? Well, not only is Bill Romanowski of the Broncos far from being any sort of messiah, but Stokes is not even remotely blind. So why would Romo do this? Ouch! Dude really did Stokes dirty with that, and the media and the NFL at large really poked their eyes into the issue. The only miracle in the whole situation was the fact that the racial allegations didn't get out of hand. But what about an incident that causes a name change? Number 14. Finnegan, from Dirty Player to Joke of the Year. Did you know that Cortland Finnegan was named as the dirtiest player of the year in the NFL in the 2010 season? Now that's quite an achievement, but Finnegan wasn't done. Once he got into it with wide receiver Andre Johnson by making a totally classless move. And let's just say, Johnson beat a joke out of him. Oh boy, yeah, that fight really got people questioning if Finnegan's name should be changed to Innigan. But you know what's even funnier? Finnegan actually loves his reputation as the league's dirtiest player. Well, at least he doesn't try to hide his acts like our number 13 moment. Number 13. Strength coach Sal Alosi tries to trip a player. Yeah, New York Jets strength coach Sal Alosi had a moment. He went way too far trying to make sure a defender would not be able to go far. Really sneaky there, coach, but surprise, surprise, the all-seeing camera caught dear old Sal red-handed. Oops. That little incident led to a well-deserved suspension for Alosi, leaving Dolphins fans absolutely fuming. I mean, come on, Sal, didn't anyone teach you that tripping is reserved for toddlers and clumsy cats? But look, at least he didn't put someone in an ambulance. Number 12. Adams made to see stars. You see, this one happened in the clash between the Packers and the Bears on that fateful Thursday night football game in 2017. Davante Adams found himself in a real-life blink and you'll see stars situation. It was late in the third quarter and Adams caught a pass, blazing his way down to the 8-yard line. But little did he know that Trevathan had a plan to take the collision course to the next level. Oh man, that looks every bit as bad as it seems because that hit sent the medical staff scrambling to rush him to the hospital. Luckily, Adams bounced back from that cosmic encounter and remains one of the game's top receivers today. Talk about seeing stars in more ways than one, but look, there's nothing that defines going too far like when an incident forces the NFL to invent a rule. Now, that's taking it all the way to the top. Number 11. Roy Williams forces horse collar rule. Roy Williams is the man who played the game so dirty that the NFL had to invent a rule just for him, called the horse collar rule, back in 2004. Dude had a knack for injuring not one, not two, but 3 different players using that infamous tackle move. Now that's taking it far, but Roy had to take it even further. So when they came up against Eagles and Terrell Owens, he unleashed. Damn! Williams must have thought he was auditioning for the WWE with those bone-crushing moves. Of course, he racked up fines from the NFL for his relentless dedication to the dark arts of tackling. But at least, Williams did not mistake football for MMA like Antonio Brown. Number 10. Kicks and stumps. It would have been interesting if Brown had played for the Browns, but then the stars don't always align in the NFL. Except when things want to get violent. Now picture this. If you were returning a punt and you managed to dance through several attacks, all the way till you see a punter standing in your way, what do? Well, we don't know, but here's what not to do. Man, that was such a good run, but a cleat to the face? Yeah, that's way too far. And speaking of cleat-to-body action, remember Ndamukong Suh? 2011, Suh Stomps Giving? Now, that was just wild, but this same man decided that Matt Schaub needed some birth control help? Ouch! But dude just got 4 kids, that's not too much? Anyway, our next moment proves that these kicks and stumps are not as hard as decks. No helmet, sorry, no cap. Number 9. Alfonso forces helmet off Flacco's face. This happened between the Dolphins and the Ravens in 2017. Joe Flacco was just trying to gracefully slide after a scramble, but Kiko Alonso came charging in like a runway locomotive. And what he did takes the song Mask Off to a whole new level. Man, that's just crazy, which explains why the teammates also went crazy. But in the end, the NFL had the last hit, and it came down to Alonso with a fine of over $9,000. Talk about a costly helmet launch. But what's worse than a $9,000 helmet launch? $1 million suspension. Number 8. Garrett loses $1 million. It all happened when the Browns locked horns with the Steelers in 2019. Sacks were flying in left and right, and before you know it, trouble started. Why would anyone even think to do that? The real-life WWE showdown that takes place later was foreseeable. And besides Garrett, Larry Ogunjobi was also sent packing for shove, while Marquise Pouncey faced the same situation. But people wanted to know, why would Garrett take it that far? Well, he claimed that Rudolph used racial slurs against him. Well, that didn't stop the league from suspending him for a whopping 6 games without pay. And guys, that adds up to over $1 million down the drain. Wow. But look, at least the incident didn't require someone getting 30 stitches. Number 7. Haynesworth's face stump. It was October 1st in 2006, and for all intents and purposes, Albert Haynesworth seemed like promising defensive lineman. But all that didn't matter as the Titans faced off against the Dallas Cowboys. If you thought a lineman would know where to draw the line between defensive act and detestable act, Haynesworth would prove you wrong with this. Oh! That's way out of line. And Gerard needed 30 stitches. Man, just look at the length he went. Removed the helmet, and when his first stomp attempt failed, he made another attempt. Just shows you how vicious it was, narrowly missing Gerard's eye. Anyways, the NFL got involved and slapped him with a suspension of 5 games without pay. The longest suspension in modern NFL history. Sounds about right. But what doesn't sound right is a player who takes things further and further and further. Number 6. Marcus Vick series. You see, the 2006 Gator Bowl was supposed to showcase talent and sportsmanship, or so we thought. Enter Marcus Vick, who decided to throw all notions of class out the window. That was evil in all caps. But wait, Vick has always been a menace. Indeed, this was the same guy who missed the entire 2004 season due to serious legal issues, and even had the audacity to give the crowd at West Virginia the finger during a game in 2005. Boy, that boy is wild. Unsurprisingly, Vick was swiftly dismissed from Virginia Tech following the Gator Bowl incident. But while that might have tarnished his career, Vick wasn't done playing, and soon he would get into a real-life GTA situation with the Newport police. Yeah, he went as far as he could. But guys, we're into the top 5 now, and that means it's time to get wilder. But just before we get into it, hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell so you don't miss any of our videos. All set? Let's go. Number 5. Ref gets into trouble. Now, if you think the umpires don't get into trouble with players, then you haven't been paying attention. And in a Monday night game between the Jets and the Dolphins, Sean Green, the Jets running back, was on fire, and he burst through the middle for a 20-yard run. But we know he went too far because the run was actually the longest of the night. Just look at this mess. The funny thing here is that the ref actually aided Green's progress there, as he inadvertently ended up tripping Dolphin safety Rashad Jones in the process. Talk about a domino effect. But apart from the umpires, you know who else ain't safe? The fans. Number 4. Lincoln Kennedy goes after a fan. Now, Lincoln Kennedy is one heck of a towering force of an NFL offensive lineman. I mean, he stands at 6'6" and weighs a solid 335 pounds. Definitely, that's someone you'd want to avoid messing with, but apparently this does not apply to Denver Broncos fans in 1999. These guys thought it would be a good idea to pelt Kennedy and his teammates with snowballs throughout the entire game. But Kennedy, not one to let things slide, literally took matters into his own massive hands. Dude made his way into the stands, grabbed one drunken fan, and went to work on his face. That was a wild night, but many people felt the Broncos fans deserved what they got. But at least that whole fiasco happened after the game, because number 3 here went on to become a full brawl. Number 3, Rams vs. Giants in 2014. The tension in the game between the Rams and the Giants was thick, and Odell Beckham Jr. was at the center of it all. After scoring a touchdown in the first quarter, he couldn't resist rubbing it in. Well, that didn't sit well with Alec Ogletree from the Rams. So in the second quarter, he went all out for Beckman and took him right out of the field. Tempers quickly flared after the young receiver retaliated, and just like that, all hell broke loose. In the end, a total of 9 players found themselves facing hefty fines for their participation in the ruckus. Wow! But that's still not as far as a coach getting into a fight. Number 2, Bengals vs. Steelers in 2015. These division rivals have a knack for turning a football game into a brawl fest. But in 2015, during a wildcard game, they took it to a whole new level of madness. With just 1 minute 36 left on the clock, the Bengals were leading 16-15 and had just snagged an interception. Victory was within their grasp, but with the twist of fate, they fumbled the ball. And just like that, Vontaze Burfict of the Bengals went in on Antonio Brown. Jeez, that could have easily been fatal. So it was no surprise that chaos ensued, and even Steelers coach Joey Porter joined in. Interestingly, the fight resulted in penalties that gifted the Steelers excellent field position, through which they won the game. Wow! But what could possibly be worse than this? A fight that involved pretty much everybody. Number 1. Bears vs. St. Louis Cardinals in 1986. Yeah, you probably don't know who the Cardinals are. Well, this is one of the events that made them famous. So, how far did they take this one? Well, a total of 51 players were fined. Oh boy, do you think there's any moment much worse than this? Let us know in the comments.